it's Jessii V, and I'm wearing a cloud shirt today. There's a lot of blue going on this backdrop. By the way, if you've never seen this new enchanted magical forest backdrop behind me, if you would like to win it, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, so my Jessii V channel, turn on your notification bell, and then head over to my other two Instagram accounts. It's called The Whimsy Wonders and Jessii V Merch. Just follow them both. That's all you have to do, nothing else. And you will be entered to win this backdrop. I'll be announcing it in a few weeks. Alright, so as you can tell by the title of today's video, we're going to be talking about some video chatting applications, primarily Zoom and Skype. I got the idea for this video because obviously this past year, a lot of us have been staying inside, talking to family and friends on Zoom or Skype and FaceTime. It's kind of just the new way to talk to people. Like, I've gotten used to just talking to my friends and family on a Zoom call. Now, I used to use Skype all the time back when I was in high school. It was like my favorite thing to use. In fact, I didn't even hear about Zoom until this year. Is Skype like dead now? I used to do homework with my friends on Skype all the time. And I remember this one time back in high school, my friend tried to set me up with this guy she knew. But he lived really far, so we had to do this blind date over Skype for the first time. And it was so strange because he would sit in the darkness of his room and I would never be able to fully see his face. I could only just hear his voice, and honestly, he was very, very nice, but he would never turn the light on, which really freaked me out, so we never had a second date. Sorry, dude. Like, we'd be sitting there and I'd be like,
hey, do you want to like come into the light?
And he would be like, never. So yeah, it didn't go very well. And like, I know people this past year have been doing Zoom dates and Skype dates because obviously it's really hard to meet people in person. So make sure they're not talking to you in a dark room. That's just the only advice I have for you.
My name is Jeremy and I'm a vampire.
So first, I'm gonna tell you a Skype creepypasta. This story is called Be Right Back. This is a story about a 17-year-old boy named Jake, and he was very lonely, didn't have very many friends in real life. He was just shy and didn't really feel comfortable going out of his way to talk to people, so he started to make friends on the internet. One day, he met this guy named Daniel, and they became very, very close friends. After talking for 6 months, they began to Skype almost every single day, and they would just have random conversations or play video games most of the time, but very strange things began to happen. One day, Daniel looked incredibly distraught when he joined the video call, and when Jake asked him what was wrong, he said that when he came home from school, the mirror in his bedroom was broken and the glass was all over his bedroom floor, and he had no idea how it happened. And the following week, things took a very, very dark turn. Daniel and Jake were having their usual Skype conversation when Daniel was suddenly called downstairs by his parents. So he said, "Be right back," and ran out of his room. So all Jake could see was his empty bedroom with band posters all over the wall and dirty laundry all over the floor. But suddenly he heard this strange rustling noise coming from somewhere in Daniel's room. At first, Jake thought that it must have been Daniel's dog somewhere that he couldn't see, but then he saw something that made his heart stop. A tall, pale, skinny man climbed out from under Daniel's bed, and Jake wondered how long he had been hiding there. Was he living in their house without them knowing? The man began to walk up to the laptop with a creepy grin and put a finger over his lips as if to tell Jake to stay quiet. Jake saw that in his other hand he was holding pieces of Daniel's broken mirror. That's when the call abruptly ended. And since that day, he didn't hear anything from Daniel for 2 months straight. Well, one day as he was sitting in his room, Jake got an unexpected text from Daniel. And the text said, "Wow, Jake, what a beautiful neighborhood you live in." Then he got another one that said, "Your house is very nice too, Jake." Then another one, "Oh, look, your front door is unlocked." And then, "What a cute little kitten you have, Jake. Coming up the stairs now." And lastly, "What a nice room you have, Jake." And that's how the story ends. So obviously, whatever person or entity or thing that was under Daniel's bed has now come over to Jake's house to, I guess, capture him or whatever else. I thought that was pretty creepy. I mean, webcams and video chatting in general can be kind of scary, especially like when your friend leaves the room and you're like looking into their empty bedroom. There are a lot of creepypastas about that kind of thing. So since we've talked about Skype, let's now talk about Zoom. So Zoom was made back in 2011, but this must have been its most popular year, obviously with everyone staying home. And like I said before, I didn't even know Zoom existed until this past year. And now everyone uses it for meetings and school and talking with family. And I was able to find a couple creepy stories about it. But first, I want to mention this slightly creepy and funny thing that some people have been doing. So if if you're using Zoom, you're actually able to put a custom background behind you, and people have been adding a pre-recorded video of themselves walking in on themselves zooming. So it's kind of creepy because the person you're talking to is just talking to you as normal, and then you see another them behind them walking around. So obviously it's a prank, and it's a pretty genius one, but I can imagine everyone in that meeting would be super creeped out. Alright, let's talk about a Zoom creepypasta, and this one sounds kind of real, to be honest. This one is called The Midnight Invite. Did that rhyme? There's a story about a girl who used Zoom almost every single day for her work meetings. But after about 3 months of her using this application, she started to get a mysterious Zoom invite to her email right at midnight. So exactly when her clock hit 12 on the dot, she would hear a notification pop up on her phone. It says it was always titled test-447-CU. And each day that she didn't join the meeting, the number in the title would go up by 1. And it says the email she received it from was called zoomtest-12@outlook.com. I'm pretty sure if it was a legit Zoom email, it would be at zoom.com maybe? She assumed it must have been some weird Zoom testing link that would test out her microphone and camera to make sure she was using the application correctly. But just in case, she did not want to click on the link because she did not want to get a virus on her brand new laptop. Well, after weeks of this happening, she noticed that on one particular night, the Zoom was titled something slightly different. This time it was titled test-472-CU-final try. And this time her curiosity got the best of her and she clicked on the link and joined the meeting. All she could see on the other end of the call was a black glitchy screen and the sound of static. She asked if someone was there and got no response. So she waited a few more moments and began to feel incredibly uncomfortable. And just as she was about to exit the Zoom call, she heard a voice.
We have you now.
The voice was deep and sounded distant and warped.
Test complete.
And then the Zoom call ended. The girl was so confused and scared and frantically uninstalled Zoom from her computer, and she was barely able to sleep that night. The days following, her computer wasn't working very well. It was slow, glitchy, and just seemed off. And after a week, she finally took it into a computer store to be fixed. She was told it would take a few hours, so in the meantime, she went off to do some grocery shopping. After only about 30 minutes into her shopping, she got a call from the computer store, and they said,
Miss, we don't know how to tell you this, but someone has had access to your webcam for 6 days straight, and they're actually still watching. We're trying to get it fixed, but it's taking quite a while. They've done a pretty good job at taking over your entire life in your computer.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't click on sketchy email links. Especially if it's claiming to be like a specific large company. Don't click on it if you're unsure. Especially if you ever get like a Zoom invite or like some other video chatting invite from someone that you don't know. Don't risk it. But like I said, this does sound really real, right? I don't know if it is or not. And lastly, during my research, I found this creepy Zoom glitch. I was on this forum where someone was talking about how they were using Zoom, and after about 10 minutes, the application would constantly just shut down and restart. But just before it did, this creepy, glitchy, happy face would appear on the screen for half a second. And there were like 5 other comments on this specific post saying the same thing was happening to them. And I found it really odd because why a happy face and why was it shutting down? Was it some sort of like virus? I wasn't able to find any other information about it, so I'm thinking it could be fake or untrue. But how creepy would it be to be using like a video chatting service and suddenly you see this creepy happy face on your screen and then it shuts down? I don't know, guys, just be careful out there on the internet. It could be spooky, it can be strange. But anyways, that is the end of today's video. If I missed any other creepy things that have happened on Zoom or Skype or video chatting stuff, definitely comment it down below. And don't forget, if you want to win this new backdrop behind me, go and follow the 2 Instagram accounts that I have aside from my main one. And I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!